Hey, welcome back everybody to Altcoin Daily. My name's Austin. Cryptocurrency is in a bear market based on the macroeconomic landscape as well as the hawkish rate hikes from the Fed. This is a risk-off environment, so I would suspect that prices in 2022 would probably go lower. Now, I am not a financial advisor, nor can I see the future, so you do your own research, make your own decisions. And that's also not to say that we won't see a bounce sometime soon. As we've discussed in prior videos, Bitcoin is making history right now to the downside with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 weeks to the downside. So eventually, somewhere, sometime, we'll see a bounce. But in this time of crypto market uncertainty, in today's video, like always, I want to have a very real discussion of either Bitcoin or Ethereum. Which is best? We are going to look at a series of charts, some for Bitcoin, some for Ethereum, as well as a few other pieces of on-chain data, so we have all the information so I can make the best decision for me. So, like always, check the timestamps down below, smash that like button if you want to support me, support this content, and let's jump in, starting with, first off, why Bitcoin? In a bear market, why is Bitcoin the safest play, safer play, compared to the altcoins? Well, it has everything to do with risk tolerance as well as Bitcoin dominance. And when I say risk tolerance, a lot of these altcoins, obviously, are riskier. They're more speculative. While Bitcoin's a complete project, it's a store of value / means of payment, the altcoins are based a lot more on hope and what could be in the future, after upgrades, after adoption. While Bitcoin works great as is now, at least the best out of all the cryptos. Also, it has the most users, the most liquidity. Also, it's been around the longest, which does make it a safer play to investors, especially in risk-off environments. And we can see this, we can prove this. Every cycle we see this with Bitcoin dominance. Altcoins do better in bull markets, while Bitcoin does better in bear markets via the dominance. So this is a chart of BTC dominance on the weekly scale, going about from 2016 all the way to where we are today in 2022. And just looking at history, we can see back in 2016, there was the bull run from 2016 ending at the very end of 2018. So BTC went from about 95% dominance all the way over the next 2 years in the bull market to just 35% dominance. So in a bull market, altcoins outperformed. Then what happened through the 2018 to 2020 bear market? Well, in the bear market, obviously, BTC dominance grew, going from just 35% at the end of 2017 all the way up to over 70% at the beginning and even at the end of 2020. Then the bull market happened, sent BTC dominance all the way back down to 39%. And that's how the bull market peaked. And by the way, even though altcoins right now are already down 40, 50, some up to 70% down already, BTC dominance has just started the trend change. And usually the trend is your friend. Now, will it get back up to what it hit last cycle? No, I don't believe so. We are seeing diminishing returns in BTC dominance as well. One, because we're getting way more altcoins in the crypto market than years ago, but also better quality altcoins that are sticking around longer. So while Bitcoin is king, Bitcoin dominance will continue to increase, I believe. We may not get all the way back to the peaks we saw last cycle. Anyway, towards the end of this video, I want to come back to this. I want to zoom in and talk specifically on where we are now. But generally speaking, this is why Bitcoin. This is the reason people prefer Bitcoin in bear markets. Okay, next up, let's talk about Ethereum. Number 2, ETH dominance currently at 17.1%. So clearly a big part of the market. And for those of you who've been following, ETH is going up in dominance against altcoins, but it is losing value to Bitcoin. So while it is a big contender in terms of dominance, it still does not compare to Bitcoin. But let's get specific, because something that's new this cycle that has not been a part of other cycles in the past is the amount of dApps and use cases and activity on the Ethereum network. Not to mention the merge, ETH 2.0, the upgrade happening this year. So first up, let's look at the data. And by the way, all this data, all these metrics come from Glassnode, highly respected in the space. So first up, let's talk about activity, meaning what Ethereum applications have the highest demand. To find out, we followed where users spent the most gas. Was it in DeFi applications, NFTs, ERC20s, etc. Well, this chart was very revealing. Over time, Ethereum has been many things, and we can clearly see these trends emerge within gas consumption dominance. So notable Ethereum usage dominance today is surprisingly 30% NFTs. That's what's leading the activity on the ETH network. Number 2, 13% DeFi, then 8% just means of payment, ETH transfers, 5% stablecoins, and 5% bridges. Here is that chart in color, and the two biggest consumers or usage on ETH is orange NFTs and green DeFi. This was different than last bear market, where, by the way, DeFi and NFTs weren't really even in the conversation. It was all ERC20 tokens, this darker green. It was the ICO/ERC20 boom. Then we had DeFi summer of 2020. Bitcoin really rallied here in 2020. And then in 2021, NFTs clearly seeped into the mainstream. And at 30%, they're clearly the dominant usage of Ethereum today. So now that we've looked at a lot of the data, why Bitcoin's valuable, why Ethereum's valuable, let's talk about what everybody needs to do with their crypto right now. And by the way, obviously, I'm just speaking for me. I can never tell you what to do with your money. You have a totally different situation. This video, or this channel, is really just about my journey, my brother's journey, what we're doing in this market. So Bitcoin or Ethereum, what's the better play? I think it's Bitcoin. In bear markets, you always want to choose Bitcoin. And you may think, well, Austin, if Bitcoin runs, these altcoins are going to run too. If Bitcoin does well, Ethereum's probably going to do well. And I would say, yes, eventually that happens, but not always. This is back to the BTC dominance chart. And if you remember, back in 2020, after the pandemic crash, Bitcoin ran. Bitcoin did great in 2020, 2021, as well as BTC dominance dropping heavily in 2021 as altcoins ran. But it didn't start out that way. If you look at BTC dominance towards the end of 2020 into 2021, as Bitcoin's value was increasing, Bitcoin dominance also increased as well. We again went over 70% dominance. So Bitcoin ran for months without altcoins moving. And yes, if you were willing to wait long enough, altcoins did awesome, obviously. But for several months before that, BTC was the best investment. BTC gained over altcoins. And maybe you're saying, Austin, didn't you just show us the usage? We've never seen this type of usage before on Ethereum. Didn't you just show us that? And the answer is yes. And I personally still have a big bag of Ethereum. But if you're asking me what's the better buy today, I would still say Bitcoin, only because I don't think Ethereums are going to get more popular in 2022 than they did in 2021. Yes, I don't think NFTs are going to get more popular. Over the long term, I think they will. By 2023, maybe 2025, man, they're only getting bigger. But in this next year, I don't think we're going to see the hype of 2021. I do expect stablecoins to only get bigger, more than 5%. Bridges is a growing trend. Also, DeFi only getting bigger as well. But in this risk-off environment, with all this experimentation, I would think that ETH would be seen as the more risky play for investors. Also, yes, the Ethereum merge is happening very soon. We discussed what this means to you heavily about a month ago. I will link this interview down below if you want to know what to expect with the Ethereum merge. But again, that is a major upgrade, and I would suspect that would be seen, it's an unknown. It's a risk as well with such a major upgrade to the network, at least in the short term. So I think in 2022, Bitcoin is the better play. I don't know if we'll see Bitcoin dominance get back to the peak of last cycle, over 70%, but I could easily see us getting back to the support of around 50 to 55%, which we've seen so many times before. Now, that's not to say that altcoins are dead. Altcoins are building right now. The good projects are consolidating, and they will come up much stronger in the next bull market, I would say. And even if we do see a bounce and some of these coins start going back up in USD value, I still think because of Bitcoin dominance, 2022, at least in these next few months, is the time for Bitcoin. I think. What do you think? Feel free to share your thoughts down below. Let's all check the comment section together right now. And another good video that I would recommend to a friend if you want to see more data on this is from Benjamin Cowan, the Altcoin Reckoning, he called it. I will link this down below in the description as well. Great video on the data. And that is the video. My name's Austin, and like always, I'll see you tomorrow. Appreciate you.